good to have good news in this day of COVID-19 when too often every day we're hearing bad news. So I think what I would start by doing is just reading from an official letter. So I read in part from a letter from the Apostolic Nuncio of this region, His Excellency Archbishop Fortunatus. Dear Reverend Father John Persaud, I have the joy to confirm to you that the Holy Father, Pope Francis, has appointed you Bishop of the Diocese of Mandeville, Jamaica. So I think we just want to applaud right here, right now, before I go on. This public announcement has been made in Rome today on the solemnity of the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus at noon Italian time. So together with the whole Catholic Church in this region, we just want to congratulate now Bishop-elect Father John Persaud. Let's give him a round of applause. Father John, this is such wonderful news. And we will talk a little bit about, some of your history and background. But I think we all want to know, what was your initial response? Because you knew before we did. And how are you feeling today about this appointment?
Well, as I said to the nuncio when he called me with the news, asking that the Holy Father's intention was to appoint me and if I would accept, I said to him, for me, it isn't a question as if I say yes or no, because for all my life, I've only sought to say yes to God. And so for me, that was the easy part, to be able to simply say yes, because I can't say no. And so, but I did ask him for some time to come into prayer, because I felt I wanted, even before saying yes to what is a very important choice and decision for me, that I wanted to rest in prayer in the Father's heart, so that response of mine will truly flow from the heart of God. And so yes was not difficult for me to say, because I try not to say no to God, but at the same time I also wanted to ponder it, as to use a term that our Blessed Mother did, to ponder it in the heart, so that flowing out of that would be an acceptance to what God is asking of me at this time.
Praise God. Well, we want to welcome at this time Bishop Alain, Bishop of the Diocese of Georgetown, Guyana. Bishop Alain, welcome.
Thank you.
And Raymond Sims, the editor of the Catholic News here in Trinidad, who are joining in this conversation.
Morning.
And so that you would want to add, perhaps Bishop Alain, maybe you would like to add a few words of congratulations at this time.
Well, certainly we extend every best wish for Father John, and with a confidence, that this is a task before him, and I have a little idea what that task is like, and and I know the gifts of Father John and his ability, and we just urge him on, and just with the best wishes that him and the flock entrusted to him would find that way together to just allow that part of God's vineyard to flourish. So,
I'm sure in your heart too, Bishop, even as you congratulate him, I'm sure that you're going to miss him.
Father John's departure from the diocese is a huge loss, huge. Mm-hmm. So, but by saying that, I can see that Mandeville has been very gifted. So I'm very happy for Mandeville.
And Raymond Sims, editor of the Catholic News, what would you like to add to this?
Morning. Bishop-elect Father John, congratulations. A quick question for you. Have you been to Mandeville before?
Yes, of course, I served as General Secretary for the Conference of Bishops, and in that role, I visited most of the dioceses in the conference. So, in fact, when I was appointed General Secretary, it was at the Bishops' Conference in Mandeville. Okay. And I was asked to attend that conference, but I wasn't yet General Secretary, and it was at that conference that the bishops appointed me. as General Secretary. And then subsequent to that, I had visited the diocese as well, I think a couple of times, and I had the wonderful opportunity of meeting with all the clergy serving in the diocese back then. So yes, I've had a sense. I mean, for me, it is a beautiful part of the island of Jamaica, because it's right in the heart of the country, the heart of the island. And it's the source of all the food, I think, because it's such a rich, the soil there is so, at least for me, and I'm a layman when it comes to that, but the soil looks so rich. The place where I stayed, one of my visits, the avocado pears were so big and beautiful. Oh, so yes, so it's a beautiful part of the island of Jamaica.
So Bishop, you're like, you're thinking food already.
I'm telling you.
He
likes to cook.
I like to cook, yes.
Now, Bishop-elect, you were ordained to the priesthood on July the 14th, 1985. And we know that you studied here at the Regional Seminary from 1979 to 1984. You want to go back a little bit to who were your contemporaries at the time who studied with you?
Well, there were 9 of us who entered the seminary in that batch. And actually, two of those original 9 left before we finished, but we gained 2 more, because there were 2 other guys who were a year ahead of us who took a year off and then came back and ended up with our group. And so we are all 9 still there, serving as priests throughout the Caribbean Church. And out of those 9, we've had Bishop Gabriel Malzea, who is serving as the president of the conference right now. He's a member of that group. Bishop Carol Chuni was also a member of, he was one who came back and joined us. He was a member of our group, the 9. So yes, we have a few bishops. Of course, there were other people who were in the seminary at the time with me. Your own Archbishop was there, but I was a few years ahead of him. And yes, so there are quite a few now. But the 9 of us who left seminary and went into ordination are still there, and serving throughout the Caribbean Church. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bishop-elect, what do you think would be some of the challenges that you see already in making this move and taking up this appointment?
Well, I suppose in everything in life, there are going to be challenges, but I always like to see the positive. So even in the challenge, I think I always see an invitation. For me, coming to Jamaica, while I still see myself as a Caribbean person, and I hope that that's how Jamaica will see me too. But at the same time, I am moving from a different country where I was born and grew up and everything and spent most of my life to Jamaica, which, so I would have to, of course, get to know the people there, particularly in the diocese that I'm called to serve, but also in the wider community of Jamaica itself that has 2 other dioceses. So challenge, but invitation to grow in relationship with the people there, and to develop that. So that's there. Other things that might be challenges or be seen as challenges, but for example, right away, we are living in COVID-19 times. So like my first reaction would have been to be on a plane tomorrow to go to Jamaica to meet with the people. I can't. I'm still locked down here. Our airports are not open. So I can't go as early as I would like to go to meet with the clergy and the religious and the lay faithful of the diocese that I'm being called to serve. But I may have to organize a Zoom meeting or something as we move forward. But certainly at the earliest moment that the airports are open, I would like to make that trip. Mm-hmm. So yes, so that there are going to be challenges, but I think there are also opportunities and invitations there within the challenges. And Susan, you know me. I always say, like when I moved to Trinidad for the time I was there, I said, and people kept asking me, "Do you miss Guyana? Do you miss?" And when I was coming back to Guyana, will you miss? Well, I'm that kind of person that wherever you put me down, I make it home. And so I'm looking forward to now make Jamaica my home and to build relationships and to build a really not only working but real relationships with the people of Jamaica, the priests, the religious sisters and brothers who are serving there, as well as the lay faithful. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the Mandeville has not had a bishop for what, 6 years? Yes, I will be, in fact, the 4th bishop of the diocese, but there were periods between those 4 bishops that the diocese was administered by an administrator. Yeah. Actually, Archbishop Charles Defoe, who is presently the administrator of the diocese and has been for a while, he also served in that capacity when he was bishop in Montego Bay during a period when there was not a bishop there. So I think it was the only administrator they had was now Archbishop Charles Defoe. He served in one time earlier when he was Bishop of Montego Bay, and then later when he came off as Archbishop of Kingston, he was asked to serve almost immediately as the administrator of that diocese. Maybe I'd just like to ask Bishop Alain, what do you think would be one of the any advice that you'd like to give Bishop-elect Father John Persaud at this time? You coming out of your own history when you became bishop, what would you like to tell him? Any advice you'd like to give him?
Well, I am out of my own, also coming into a new territory, new country and a new diocese. The learning curve was steep. Of course, you also know my background. I came out of a monastery, so I had no pastoral experience. So that added to the challenge. But I think that very important is in the first stages to listen, to learn the culture. I mean, I am in my post for 16 years and there's still a lot to learn. And it's very important to know the culture and to know the history of the church's culture, how it began and how it developed and what it is today. So I think that would be, for me, the most important thing to hold before you as you take up that new responsibility.
I have a question for you, Bishop Francis.
Sure.
All right, Raymond here. This is an aside. What is the situation in Guyana right now?
That's a good one.
What is this? We getting some news in the media about the situation there, but what is the situation concerning the election? Is there any update you could give us?
Well, the latest is that I don't know how far you've been following. There have been elements just trying to throw a spanner in the works at every stage, and there was quite a delay just to have the elections in the first place. I mean, the country has been on hold since November 2018, when they had that no confidence motion. And it's just, certain elements finding every reason to delay and put off and frustrate the process. So we eventually did have elections on the 2nd of March. And even that, controversy surfaced. So they did the recount. And the recount tallied exactly with a vote, with a statement of the polls. Yeah. So it was a matter of process now, just to confirm that and declare the winner and swear in a new president.
Okay.
And that was supposed to happen. Well, part of that happened on Tuesday. And then the instruction of the chair of the commission, the elections commission, instructed the chief elections officer to give in a report yesterday, which would give the final declaration. And he never showed up. And somebody has filed a motion in the court to stop him from declaring.
Oh.
It's crazy. I don't know how people invent these things and where they find them. So we are now waiting. The court is going. The High Court is, in fact, the appeal court is going to meet today at 1:30 and begin hearing that petition.
Okay. All right.
So,
thanks.
Well, we
Thanks. I didn't hear. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And we certainly have been keeping you in prayer. You know, the Guyana as a country, the Diocese of Georgetown, we constantly pray for you. And, you know, it's just a sign of the times. The whole world is just in so much turmoil. Yeah. So for Bishop-elect John Persaud being called to this, you know, appointment at this time, you know, we know in our heart that God has specially chosen you and will give you all the grace and the gifts that you will bring to the church. You know, in the Diocese of Mandeville, we know God has his hand on you.
And
we always,
Susan?
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, one of the options that was given to me as to the date for the announcement was today. And I chose today purposely so because of the feast, the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And for me, the symbol of love, therefore, of who God is and who we are called to be. And I hope that for me signals what I am assuming now in this phase of my journey and of responsibility for a diocese, that it has to be out of the heart of love, and therefore not about selfishness, not about thinking of self, but only thinking of others and the good of all. And in that light too, I truly want to make an appeal using this opportunity to those responsible here in Guyana. This is my country and will always be my homeland. But I pain, I hurt over what is happening. And for the good of all Guyana and all its people, I truly call on everyone, the one who is serving as president now, and all those who are seeking leadership in our country to truly put Guyana first. It is time to end this nonsense and to allow us to build a nation and to bring our people together. And it is not about selfish needs and desires and needs for power, but it is about putting all Guyana first. And I really want to use this forum to appeal. Yes, I'm going to be going from here, but I want to truly appeal to everyone, to all the political leaders and those who seek office, to really put Guyana first right now. We need it. We are hurting. We are not unlike what is happening probably in the US. People are hurting, and we need to put all our people first.
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, I see the clock ticking down, so we're going to have to bring this interview to a close, or discussion, not an interview. But once again, we just want to wish, for those of you who have just joined us, we want to wish Reverend Father John Persaud, now Bishop-elect of the Diocese of Mandeville, Jamaica. We just wish you all God's blessings. You know that the people of the Church of the whole Caribbean, not just Guyana and Trinidad, that we will all be praying for you. And you have always been someone we looked at as, we knew that you'd be called to greater and greater things. And we just wish you all God's blessings. And we will, you know, those Trinity TV is going to keep you in touch with what's happening with Bishop-elect Father John Persaud. But from all of us again, congratulations. God bless you. Thank you, Bishop Elaine, for joining us, and Raymond Sims, editor of the Cathedral News. Thank you.
All the best, Bishop-elect.
Thank you. Thank you. And thanks to all those who have been messaging me from 6 o'clock this morning. I will eventually get on to everybody, but thank you for your prayers and your wonderful wishes. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.